This was a request given to me by one of my viewers who saw one of my Halloween movies and the horror movies. They're like, you know what? You should watch the movie We Need to Talk About Kevin. And when I first heard about this movie, I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this. Let me look it up. I feel it gotta be a horror flick because, you know, this review was given to me on a horror film. I think it was on The Invisible Man this review was given to me. And I look it up and I'll see, oh, there's Ezra Miller, The Flash, Tilda Swinton, The Ancient One, and John C. Reilly, who's in Talladega Nights, a bunch of other Will Ferrell movies, and in Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. All these people I know, recognize. It's a BBC film. Okay. Now I'm a little more intrigued. You know, a lot of films from the UK, I have had different feelings regarding them. Some I really enjoyed, some I haven't. So I'm like, okay, let me see what this one's about. I am now super intrigued. Finally watched the movie, thinking that this is gonna be a horror flick about some demon child, just from We Need to Talk About Kevin, and the fact that it was given to me on a horror review film.
You are wrong.
It wasn't. It's more of a thriller. A very, 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 very slow burn. Very slow. And then when I got done watching it, I felt dead on the inside. And on this episode of Movie Breakdowns, I'm going to jump into this review of We Need to Talk About Kevin from 2011. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's Movie Breakdowns? A movie review series looking new and old movies. Give them a grade A through F, plus or minus do count. And if there's a review you want me to redo, let me know. Please put in the comment section below, and I get to it as best I can. I have a Patreon. Patreon/Ali Zakka is the name of it. And on this Patreon, if you subscribe to it, you get the cut in front of everybody. Ask me to do a review, I do it immediately and get it out there on Patreon for you to watch, and Facebook and YouTube gets it much, much later. Heck, if Facebook even sees it sometimes. Also, gotta give a shout out to my Patreon member, Tyler Phoenix. Thank you for your request. Thank you for paying for my services. I appreciate it. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's review of We Need to Talk About Kevin. Let me talk about the good first and the bad first. And this is a spoiler review, guys. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch the movie and come back to my review. The movie came out in 2011. The good parts, the acting is phenomenal. You feel for the characters. You feel for Tilda Swinton's character. You really feel for her. By the way, her name is Eva. You feel for Eva. You like anything that Kevin did, who is played by 3 different people actually. But the main 2 are Jasper Newell and Ezra Miller. When Kevin is doing just the most frustrating things and back-talking his mom and being disrespectful to her and destroying things that she loves and cares about, and you feel the tension build up inside Eva, Tilda brings that to light. She, to me, makes this movie, because it wasn't for her, this movie wouldn't be a strong movie. And there are Oscars, like I think Tilda Swinton won an Oscar for this movie, and John C. Reilly was nominated for an Oscar. Like, if it wasn't for Tilda's presence and it wasn't for her acting, this movie probably wouldn't be as strong, because she brings it to the table. She gives you everything, every feeling, every emotion, every contemplation, every detail, every little confliction she's having. You can feel that from her. You can feel when she's doesn't know how to handle her kid and she wants to figure out a way to make amends and try to bond them together. And Kevin just like, nah. Since day one, he came out the womb and he was just crying, and she couldn't get him to stop crying. But then John C. Reilly's character, Franklin, picks him up, doesn't cry. Kevin does some disrespectful stuff to Eva. John comes home, or I guess Franklin comes home, Kevin acts like an angel. And Eva has to sit here and try to figure out, why is this kid doing this stuff? And I felt them. Like, the acting in this movie is phenomenal. It is great. And see everything play out in a sense was kind of neat. I'm not really a big fan of flashbacks. If you know, watch my other reviews and somebody does a flashback, I'm not really a big fan of flashback without a point. This whole movie is a flashback, to be honest, so let that be. Take it as you will. But this whole movie is a flashback. In between, it is Eva dealing with what has happened in the past and trying to figure out what came to the explosion towards the end of the movie, where this realization happened and she's like, maybe I could have stopped it. Maybe I could have avoided it. Maybe I just been a tougher parent. And she doesn't really get that answer at the end of the movie. So Kevin is just a dick. He's a horrible child. Anytime his mama says something, he backstabs her. He's super, what's the word I'm thinking of? Not snooty, condescending, even as a kid. And Eva just trying to be a polite parent, and he's just really being disrespectful to her. John C. Reilly's character, Franklin, teaches Kevin how to shoot a bow, and then this starts leading to little other things like him getting really good at shooting, and then all of a sudden they have another kid. Eva and Franklin have another kid who's a daughter. She has a pet hamster, I believe, and it's implied that Kevin kills the hamster, stuff it down a garbage disposal. And that's another sign there that this kid ain't right. And we've known that from day one. And then eventually towards the end of the movie, Kevin pretty much goes to school and assassinate his classmates via bow and arrow. And that is like the slow burn part of this movie. It's pretty much, it is Eva dealing with her kid and trying to find a way to discipline her kid, but then end up losing him to the point where he's just doing his own thing and just being mischievous, and to the point where he feels like he needs to go and shoot up a school via bow and arrow and kill his classmates. He's now rotting in jail pretty much, and at the end of the movie, Eva asks why, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I thought I knew the answer, but I don't know. And that set with me. That set with me because I was like, we always don't get the answer to the things we want. That's a real life thing. We don't get closure. Sometimes we don't even know why people do the things they do, and we just gotta sit with the consequences of it sometimes. And you get to see Eva dealing with the consequences of her son. You get to see people ostracize her, talk bad about her, smack, like hit her and punch her and abuse her, just disrespect her house for what her son did. While he gets to be in the safety of a prison cell, and we don't know what really goes on within the prison, but pretty much he's not dealing with the public. But Eva has to live with that for her whole life. Live with the fact that Kevin killed her husband, his father, killed her daughter, his sister, blood relation. It's messed up. But the problem with this movie for me, the negative, is that it takes so long to get to it. The movie giving you bits and pieces throughout the movie. Matter of fact, I already knew before the movie got to that point that Kevin ended up doing something. Either he set somebody on fire, set the house on fire, because we keep visiting Eva, but we don't see John C. Reilly's character, Franklin, and we don't see the daughter. And we're sitting there wondering, I'm sitting here wondering like, okay, so I know what happens. How does it happen? How long will it take us to get to this point? Alright, it took us the whole movie to get to the point where it's like, this is the big thing. And it's just like, yeah, I don't even know. And you're just like, well, top my hat to you. Thank you for your time. Get out of my face. Like, to me, it is a movie that not everybody's going to enjoy. Not everybody's going to like it. But those people who love super suspense and try to figure out the puzzle and pieces, and hopefully don't figure out before the movie reveals itself, because you do, then you'll be like, all that for this. And when I watched this movie one time, and watching the movie, it gets to the point where Kevin gets the bike locks, and he decides to go to the school and do what he do. I was like, God dang it. And it sucked because I was like, I hope this is not leading to him killing his classmates. And that's what happened. And I was like, God dang it. And there's nothing Eva could have done, really. Like, at that point, as a young kid, she should have talked to Franklin and try to have a discussion about their kid. She never really had that discussion, which is funny because the movie is called We Need to Talk About Kevin. And I think that is the point of this movie. This movie is supposed to make you feel a certain way, make you feel and have these conversations with other people. I don't think this movie is supposed to watch by yourself. I think this is a movie you should watch with a bunch of people to really say, like, yeah, that's not how I would have handled things. That's not how I would have handled this. We need to talk about this kid from day one. He's been disrespectful. Matter of fact, the biggest red flag when he destroys her room full of maps that Eva loves to collect maps, and he intentionally goes in and destroys that room. That is where, like, the punishment should came in, whether that's punishment for 2 weeks and you are sitting here, you don't get any entertainment, you don't get anything, you gotta sit here and think about what you did, why did you do it, process it, what do you do, like, why did it make your mother feel, he pretty much get off scot-free for the most part. I think Franklin scolds him and that's it. But yeah, this is definitely a movie you should watch with friends just to have that conversation and just to figure out how each person would handle a kid like that. This is something that I think you should watch with a group of people. You shouldn't really watch by yourself. Or if you do, find friends who've seen this movie and talk to them about it, because that conversation talk point is very important to this movie. Does it strengthen the movie? No. I think if you watch this movie by yourself, you probably won't be as intrigued in it, but certain scenes you'll be like, that's crazy. Not having it like that with me, okay, what the heck is going on here? By the way, the negative I have with this movie is that it is slow. It is a slow burn. You know what's happened beforehand. You know how this plays out, but it just slowly drags itself to that point. And then also the ending could be a negative as well. To me, I didn't mind it, but I can see it where, like, that's it? That's it. What did we go through all this for? Why do we have to experience all this pain and suffering just to get the answer of, I don't know. And to me, I actually give that more of a positive versus negative, but the movie was really slow. It's a slow movie. And besides the acting, it really else wasn't really much because I knew what was going to happen. I'm not really a fan of that because of the flashbacks. It was slow for me. Let's go ahead and get into characters. So we have Tilda Swinton, who plays Eva, phenomenal job. John C. Reilly, who plays Franklin, phenomenal job as well. Ezra Miller, Jasmine Newell, who both play Kevin, great job for them. And then Ashley Gerasimowicz, who plays Celia, who is the daughter to Eva and Franklin, and the sister of Kevin. Great job for her. There's one more thing I want to talk about before getting into, this is a Friday night movie. The music of this movie is not as great. It's not really a strong soundtrack. The setting and lighting and tone, perfectly fine. There are some scenes in the movie that throws me off. For example, the scene where Kevin, pretty much, he kills the hamster and Eva realized this. Then it cuts to a hospital scene where Eva and Franklin are talking about Kevin and Franklin didn't want to talk about it. Then it cuts to a scene where Kevin, Franklin, and Eva are sitting down and talking about the sister's eye. And I was like, did I skip a part? Like, she lost the eye, but I feel like they said it, but it was like, they didn't show it. She just automatically has a glass eye, and I'm just like, okay, what happened? Did Kevin do it? Did she get sick? Nothing. No really explanation of it. It's just like, Kevin, just be aware of your sister kind of thing, and be nice to her. And he's like, okay. And I was like, that threw me off. Those three scenes, I feel like they didn't mesh well together. I feel like there's some editing there that seems off. Alright, is this a Friday night movie? No. But this is definitely a movie you should watch with your friends. And grading time. I'm going to grade the movie We Need to Talk About Kevin a solid C. It's a C for me. The acting is really great. Great acting. I just wasn't a fan of the slow burn. I wasn't a fan of like knowing what was going to happen and just waiting for everything to play out. I just wasn't a fan of that. I wasn't a fan of the flashbacks going back and forth. It just, to me, just seemed unnecessary. Like, maybe the first half of the movie be a flashback, or maybe the first half we're experiencing, you know, Eva's life, and then come back into a flashback where she's just like troubled by it. But the flashback throughout the movie and then the ending, which you already know is going to happen, it just didn't do it for me. In fact, the movie was super slow. Just didn't do it for me. The movie's an hour and 52 minutes, and I'm just like an hour into it, like, man, this is a slow movie. I wasn't a fan of pacing, but it's a C for me. Something that is going to incite conversation, but not a movie that I'm going to watch over and over again. And it's not a movie that, like, if my friend's like, hey, you want to watch this movie? I'll be like, yeah. So it's a C. I know Oscar winners, stuff like that, people love this movie, but to me, just a C. If you've seen the movie We Need to Talk About Kevin, what do you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of Movie Breakdowns or Grind Towards Success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time, and keep being awesome.